Hi. Hello. I'm Ryan. I'm hijacking this channel. 'Tis mine now. Mwahaha. In case you forgot, I was the artistic mastermind behind the Agamemnon video. If you haven't seen it yet, you really should go watch it. The art is really good. But also the voice work. Thank you, Thomas, for your wonderful voice acting. I will be handling that this time around. I will try not to sound too boring. The role of the artistic genius shall likewise be assumed by Thomas. If you watched the Agamemnon video, you may remember Thomas talking about a literature class called HL. Today we are going to dive into exactly what HL means and how it is supposed to work. HL is short for Humane Letters, which is the official name for the class. However, students rarely use the official name, firstly because it can be a mouthful, and secondly because we don't actually know what it means. We've taken this class 3 times and I still can't tell you what is so humane about letters. Sure, it sounds kind of cool, but so does the word hydroplane, which is in practice actually quite dangerous. Moving on. A diverse cast of characters can often be found in an HL classroom. No, that's a lie. There's 2 types of kids in an HL room: talkers and non-talkers. The talkers talk, whether it's relevant or not, and the non-talkers do not speak at all. We know many things about talkers because they are constantly divulging their secrets by nature of being talkers. There's the talker who is so incredibly thorough that they have textual evidence to support every little thing they say. Then there's the talker who says stuff, but has little to no textual evidence to use as support. I'm guilty of this. Then there's the talker who, for some reason, is speaking even though they haven't read the book all year, but have discovered that, if they listen to what people who did read the book say, namely talker number 1, then they can formulate something vaguely relevant. You see, there's a trick to talking about philosophical or metaphysical topics in class that the students at our school seem to have caught on to. That anything you say will hold some kind of water if you use one of the 3 magic words: truth, beauty, or goodness. It's like how the cop-out answer to any question about astronomy is gravity and density. Some say that there is a 3rd category of students, but I would consider it a subcategory of talkers. The kind of talkers. These students kind of talk, but not really. The words per seminar counter for a talker is about 4 times that of a kind of talker, and the chances that a kind of talker will speak at any point during a seminar are less than 50%. And then there are the teachers themselves. The post of HL teacher is something akin to that of a Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. We've never had the same one 2 years in a row. Make of that what you will. All of our HL teachers were great, but they all seem to approach the task of teaching HL with varying degrees of enthusiasm. Our first HL teacher, freshman year, was like the Aristotelian golden mean of HL enthusiasm, which is absolutely a thing. Long story short, he was a very good teacher. Sophomore year was mostly spent trying to make our new HL teacher laugh, which was harder than you might expect. He was on the lower end of the HL enthusiasm scale, but we still had a great time with him. Every day he'd take attendance and then ask if there were any announcements, and we would then spend half an hour talking about the most random and irrelevant crap we could think of before class actually started. Every single day. This year's teacher, junior year, is on the upper end of the scale, to say the least. As much as we love him, I will only divulge that he is even more invested in the books we're reading than the previously mentioned talker number 1s. The chances of him speaking up at any point during a seminar for any reason other than to tell us to stop yelling at or interrupting each other is 100%. Now that the stage is set, let's take a look at what a seminar is actually like. We start out with the book, obviously. Now, our school teaches according to a classical curriculum, which means that we emphasize the teachings of old philosophers, artists, and writers from Herodotus to Jane Austen to Alexis de Tocqueville. It's not like we're reading John Green novels in these classes. That would be far too easy to discuss and enjoy. So we read a complicated book that's 40% words and 60% semicolons the night before, then come into class, sit in our little circle of desks, and wait for our teacher to kickstart the seminar. Or as I like to call it, a verbal ping-pong match between 3 or 4 people while everyone else watches or sleeps. Our teacher will write a few questions on the board, give us something to start with, and then it's off to the races. Ideally, we would discuss the topic at hand using articulate, professional language and vocabulary, textual evidence to support well-constructed arguments, and show one another the proper respect by allowing everyone the opportunity to speak their minds. Well, it's been 3 years and none of those things have really happened yet. And here's why. Our class has always been fairly small. And what with this pandemic thing that's happening right now, our class is even smaller. Whereas most kids cannot even begin to name all of the students they have classes with. I can list off every single person in my grade. That's how small we are as a school. That being said, everyone in my HL class has been familiar with their peers for at least 4 or 5 years, so by this point, no one has any qualms about yelling at each other or interrupting each other. They do make us call each other by our last names, but that's about where the formalities end. Yeah, I don't think any of us have any respect for each other anymore. We even have established unspoken rules within the HL classroom that everyone has sort of unconsciously decided to follow. Like, don't use the words objective or subjective. Or, if you want to make a movie reference, just do it, don't ask for permission. And, possibly the most famous, do not use Hitler as a comparison of bad character, because everything looks better compared to Hitler. So we spend 2 hours batting around whatever philosophical beach ball our teacher throws into our midst for the day until it's time to leave, at which point we are given our homework assignment, which is usually to read more of the semicolons and the words and the letters that are somehow humane and things like that, so that we can come in the next day and do it all over again until we finish the book. And then we are forced to write full 5-paragraph essays for test grades that are designed to drain the heart and soul from your very body until there is nothing left but a shell of a former self, filled instead with words from Aristotle's opening paragraph from the Metaphysics, the first 11 lines of Beowulf in the original Old English, the Star Splitter by Robert Frost, and semicolons. So many semicolons. And that is a basic rundown of what goes on in our Humane Letters classes. I hope you found this entertaining and the art style aesthetically pleasing and all that jazz, and that you enjoyed this little sneak peek into something that not a whole lot of high schoolers get to experience. It is an interesting experience, yes, but it is nothing if not wildly entertaining at the same time. Thank you for watching, like, subscribe, I'll leave the promotions to Tomas.
So like and subscribe and... Oh! My terrible first draft of my Job essay has killed me. Forgive me.
Oh boy, I can be reanimated.